Hello and welcome to the channel. President Buhari will not just be handing over the keys of power to President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu come May 29th. He will also be handing over a huge problem to the former Lagos State Governor. On today's piece, I will explain to you the humongous problem that awaits Tinubu after Buhari departs Aso Rock. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Petrol subsidy removal. Buhari hands over tough problem to Tinubu. Nigeria oil resources, especially petrol, seem to have brought more pain than joy to the citizens. While nations such as Norway, Russia, UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, through strategic planning and investment of the gains made from harnessing petroleum resources, have turned around their economic fortunes, Nigeria has failed to do the same. Managers of Nigeria's petroleum resources have shown that they are more concerned with quick fix solutions. The implications is that the citizens are now poorer amid abundance, with 130 million out of the nation's 200 million people already living in multidimensional poverty levels. It is on record that Nigeria is the only member nation of the crude oil cartel, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC), with no functional refinery. This is not to say that Nigeria does not have refineries. No. Nigeria has 4 refineries located in Port Harcourt, 2, Warri and Kaduna, with a combined capacity of 445,000 barrels per day. Many experts say they have been mismanaged in such a way that over time they have become moribund. Today, despite being the #1 oil-producing country in Africa, Nigeria imports refined products. Recently, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, said the nation was spending about 250 billion naira monthly to subsidize the importation of petrol into the country, simply because all the nation's 4 refineries are down. According to her, the subsidy cost per litre ranged between 350 naira and 400 naira. This has grave implications for the economy, as funds which otherwise would have been used to carry out capital projects to bridge the infrastructural deficit in Nigeria are spent monthly to subsidize petrol. The case has been made for the removal of the subsidy. To give vent to this demand, Ahmed said it will be removed before the Buhari administration winds down on May 29. But the move has now been suspended, as the National Economic Council (NEC) said last week that the decision on whether to remove the subsidy or not will now be taken by the incoming Tinubu administration. President-elect Bola Tinubu will take over from President Muhammadu Buhari on May 29. Indeed, budgetary provisions of only 3.36 trillion naira have been made to cover the first 6 months of 2023, that is, January to June. Making a U-turn on our earlier pronouncement, Ahmed on Thursday said the NEC decided at its meeting that it was not a favorable time to remove the petrol subsidy. The same day, Labour, which had been at the forefront of the fight against the removal of petrol subsidies without fixing the nation's 4 refineries, signaled the crisis to come when it warned that it will have to demand 100,000 naira minimum wages should the subsidy be dispensed with. The current minimum wage is 30,000 naira. Stating the position of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), the chairman in Ekiti State, Kolakbo Olatunde, said Labour leaders will not accept petrol subsidy removal without optimal functionality of refineries. According to him, if the government insists on the removal, workers would only accept an increase of the minimum wage to at least 100,000 naira across the country, as the ripple effect of the removal would be devastating for citizens, especially workers. Olatunde disclosed that the removal of subsidy, which could result in the selling of petrol for as high as 500 naira per litre, would have an immediate impact on the prices of goods and services in the country, thereby increasing poverty level and economic challenges. He said, "Let me say here for the umpteenth time that if the next government removes fuel subsidy, we will have an open invitation to poverty and social crisis in the nation because many citizens won't be able to survive the negative effects. The multiplier effect will be devastating for the masses in the area of increase in prices of goods and services when a liter will be sold for 500 naira or more. If they should go ahead with the removal, we will have no option than to demand an immediate increase of minimum wage from what we have now to at least 100,000 naira for us to cope with the situation. On how the government could handle the situation, the NLC chairman said the best way out is to go back to our refineries and upgrade them to function well or possibly build new ones. That is the best decision for us to survive this problem in our hands. Petrol subsidy removal has been a hard decision that Buhari has consistently hesitated to take after taking over from the Jonathan government, which too tried unsuccessfully to remove the subsidy. Now, the question has been asked, how can one explain that though we have refineries where staff members are employed and salaries paid regularly, crude can't be refined? Interestingly, this problem of product importation that has been with us since the advent of this democratic dispensation remains unsolvable. The refineries whose only problem is turnaround maintenance, TAM, rehabilitation have become a political campaign tool for every successive government. One can only understand the depth of the crisis at hand when one realizes that funds are regularly earmarked and released for rehabilitation and the so-called TAM, but somehow the refineries never worked. With the enactment of the Petroleum Industry Act (PIA) 2022, the Nigerian government came to terms with the reality of subsidy removal, no thanks to the humongous cost implication compelled by the implementation of the PIA and the overwhelming cost of petrol subsidies. Government is proffering a solution. As part of an effort to resolve the impact of subsidy removal on ordinary Nigerians, the government wants to borrow $800 million from the World Bank to be distributed as a palliative to 10 million households. Some Nigerians are up in arms against the decision to remove the subsidy or borrow the $800 million palliative money. Resistance is coming from the NLC, Trade Union Congress, TUC, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, and the Northern Youth Council of Nigeria, NYCN, among others. That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye.